Everybody's laser focused on gold, on silver. They're all looking at the wrong gold. The hottest technical setup and development in the markets right now is not in gold, is not in silver. It's actually in oil and the oil stocks. Wall Street is doing it again, fooling everybody while positioning themselves in oil stocks for the next oil and energy rally. All the information you need to know in today's video. No time to waste, let's get into it. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks and month. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day. My name is Daniel Halmi and this is the oil price WTI. And if you look at it first glance, you say, oh, all right, nothing is really happening. We had the price explosion after the Iran war broke out. We have the downtrend. People tend to forget that we also have an uptrend that started last winter, but we'll let that one slide. And it's really nothing burger for the past month, and nothing is happening. Yeah, that's exactly what Wall Street wants you to believe. When I first talked about energy stocks and said, hey, you should look at energy stocks and maybe take position, that was in the fall and winter 2025, right here, where the oil price was around $65 to $60 a barrel, actually probably all the way to the lows, like let's say 56. And I was telling you then, there's something sneaky going on. The oil price is not moving, but the oil stocks are moving. And if you watched the videos back then, you remember I said, hey, Wall Street is using the cover of the oil price being low and not doing anything to buy into the oil stocks. And that's exactly what happened. All of a sudden, we start to get the rally in the beginning of January in oil right here. And then obviously the big war breaks out. And obviously nobody on Wall Street knew anything about these type of things. If you believe that, cool. Say hello to Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny for me, because you live in a world that would be nice to live in. Not reality, but probably great rainbows. And now we're seeing the same setup again. If you look at oil on the surface, yes, nothing is happening. We're in this like trapped in between the uptrend and the downtrend, and it's boring and it doesn't have any effect of inflation and it's oil anyway. But first off, just because oil, the commodity, is not doing much, and as we're going to talk about in a second, and you need to know this and you need to see this in the charts, it is actually doing a lot. It's just not visible on the first glance. But secondly, diesel prices are going through the roof. Refinery stocks on fire, rivaling the performance of any gold and silver stock. Nobody's talking about it. Wall Street is covering up its new positioning in the energy market. Now let's start with oil. So this is the chart, and you can see we know the main points. An important point that not enough people are talking about is that we clearly established ourselves above the 200-day moving average, the golden line, which was and has been really good in the past years to kind of predict the overall move of the oil price. Look at this. We broke above it end of January, hovered around it, party time. That's pretty good. We kind of broke below it in January 2025. Yeah, we had a couple of nasty bull traps, especially this one. Oof, that's evil. And as you can see, pretty much predicted the whole down move of 2025. So it's not super clean. And we see it here. We got an undercut here, nasty bear trap, a little bit here. But overall, that's been a pretty good sentiment indicator, right? Maybe not timing, but gives you an idea where we're going with this. And we clearly established ourselves above it. Also, the uptrend that started last December was tested and held. So there is clearly a new floor in oil, and it's higher than it was in the fall, winter, and most of 2025, the second half. We are seeing a re-rating, and that makes sense. And I've pointed this out before. This makes absolute sense with the developments in Iran. Yes, I'm familiar with the thesis that China is not even participating in the oil markets anymore because, well, their economy is broken and they want to increase the dependency of Russia and make Putin their little biatch. I'm familiar with it. I do believe this absolutely has merits. I think it's valid to an extent. But you also have other countries that nobody accounts for that supports this thesis, like India. Yes, has been importing Russian oil as well, but still big demand for oil. Obviously, you have Europe. And this is the story that I've been talking about for this commodity supercycle. Don't look at the commodities in global demand. Look at it through the pockets. Well, first off, look at it through geopolitics, the new Cold War, and then look to the West and look through the pockets that are really struggling with certain commodities. US with critical metals and uranium, for example. Europe with oil and all sorts of energy. That is where the best investment opportunities will be. And when we get to the oil stocks in a minute, well, it might be 5 minutes, but we'll get there, you will see that is exactly the story that Wall Street is playing. So if I look at oil, WTI here, here's what I see. I see we made a higher low, a big low compared to July at the 200. Now, we have not made a big higher high yet. But if we go into the shorter time, not the time frame, but the past weeks, then we also see that we have made, there it is. Oh, that's not great. What happened with this guy? Okay, there it is. Man, this guy. We have made higher lows in August, and we have made higher highs and nobody's talking about it. Something is changing. They will start talking about it if we make a big new high, which would mean that we basically gonna get to about 92, 93, right? This area. And so 95 actually will be it. Yeah, that sounds right. And that's obviously also then coinciding with breaking the downtrend. And then everybody's going to get bullish on oil. But we see on the shorter time frames already things are changing. Now, nothing has changed on the medium to long-term level until we break the downtrend. But something is up. You can clearly see it. You can clearly see the selling pressure is going out of the oil market. We don't have any buying pressure yet. That makes complete sense. Nobody pays attention to oil right now. Nobody wants to buy it. Everybody wants low inflation. Nobody wants to buy oil until the trend following signals and the technical signals and the charts tell them to buy oil. Oil stocks, different story. And here's where things get super interesting. So remember that most investors and institutions prefer to play a commodity like oil, a lot of the critical metals. Gold and silver is different, but usually with the energy part and the critical metal / industrial metal part, the majority of the market prefers to play them through equity. Agriculture is different because there are not that many agricultural stocks out there, but that's a tiny segment of the commodity market, so that doesn't really matter that much. So look at this. Today, August 18th, we are pretty much right where we were on June 12th. So for 2 months, really the oil price hasn't done anything. If anything, people remember, it went lower, right? Because if we look at this line right here that I'm pointing out, then you see that the majority of the time we're actually below it. Now let's take a look at the oil stocks and see what's going on with them. And if you watched my last oil video, I told you, hey, get in on the oil stock. Something is happening there. Chevron. Remember I told you when we broke this downtrend, hey, get in. Something is happening. Beautiful trade. But hey, where's June 12th? This is June 12th. Look at it. Oil price done nothing. Chevron up about 10%. That doesn't make much sense. ConocoPhillips. Here's June 12th. Up 10%. A little more actually. 12% or so. Devon. Same thing. Up a little less. Starting to catch up now. We know Devon is a lagger and then it really moves. You get the idea. Oil price doing nothing. You don't hear anything bullish on oil. You hear the negative parts that I just pointed out with China demand, for example. But the oil stocks, the American oil stocks, are moving. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. It makes sense just as it made sense last fall and winter. The big money, the smart money, is positioning itself in the oil stocks, either because they expect the oil price to break to the upside, which nobody is positioned for in the market, but they will be, or because they expect AI and the AI hardware stocks and the Mag 7s to roll over or take a big breather, and then the sector rotation is going to lead the market to the energy stocks, and they're already positioned in it. Either way, they win. Pretty clever, right? That's why I call it the smart money. But that's why you watch this channel, to trade like the smart money, to be ahead of the market. And if you missed the recommendations, well, not recommendations, I'm not your financial advisor, but the last videos on oil, when I pointed out to you, hey, something is happening, pay attention to the oil stocks. If you missed those videos, hit the subscribe button so you get the alerts when the videos come out and you are ahead of the market, just the way the viewers that already subscribed, that saw the last videos on oil weeks ago when nobody cared about oil, and that was the easy trade to make. And now they're sitting on gains and are way ahead of the market. But as you also can see in the charts here with Devon, for example, this rally has room to run. Yeah. So we look at Exxon, for example, looks really good. We break this resistance zone right here around 163. We're going right back to the highs. And then obviously the lagger Oxy, look at this, right at this resistance zone. This is a great setup. Man, something is really going on. I don't understand why everybody's missing it, but not our problem. We are ahead of it. Downtrend broke in. I think somewhere here is where I pointed it out and alerted you to Oxy. Great trade, up about 8%, but there is more to come. If you're a big fan of the cup and handle, well, this looks as cup and handle as your favorite coffee mug. And if we zoom out, what do we see? Great bull run, winter 2025, 2026, consolidation. We're breaking out to the upside. We're starting to get ready for the next party up. Why do I think that? Look at the 200-day. Moving up, got tested, nasty undercut, nasty bear trap. We're getting there, and it's not too late. And if we even get the chance, to maybe get some of these oil stocks even a little cheaper, because we might see short-term volatility, that would be even better. But I wouldn't bet on it. Just look how strong Chevron looks, one of my favorite US oil stocks. They already did what I just pointed out for you in Devon and Oxy, right? As you can see here, it already broke the resistance zone, and it's party time. So there you have it. Yes, of course we want to invest in gold and in the gold stocks. We know it's a bull market, but don't forget about the black gold. Because the main reason why I'm in the market, I don't know why you're in the market, but the main reason why I'm in the market is to make money. And if you look at the charts of the oil stocks, they clearly signal that is where the smart money expects money to be made. So let's do it and just act like the smart money and be ahead of the market. I wish you a great day. We see us tomorrow. Bye-bye.